If you're looking for a PC this Christmas, here you have the best Prebuilt gaming PCs for Christmas in 2022. I will go over different budgets, that way your budget is featured on this video, and if it's not, don't worry because I will leave plenty more in the video description as well with these ones, and I highly recommend you checking the description to see the latest prices, because every single day these Prebuilt PCs have a different price basically, so it's worth checking that out. With that being said, let's start with the first one, and I wouldn't spend any less than this for a gaming PC, especially for a Prebuilt system, since Prebuilt PCs under $600 are usually a scam, so it's hard to find a good deal below that number. But for $650 you can get the Black Big Tooth. This one has the i5 12400 alongside the GTX 1660 Super. This is a great 1080p combination, and I also wouldn't go any lower on hardware if you want your PC to last some time. This one has 8 gigs of RAM, 2x4, so it's dual channel, and 256 gigs of SSD. To start, this PC it's great at 1080p, 60 plus FPS on average, basically every single game, of course depending on the game and depending on the settings, but 1080p, high settings, 60 plus FPS on average in games like Red Dead Redemption 2 is totally possible. Now I wanna say that if you want a better performance out of this PC, I do recommend you clicking on customize and buy and going with 16 gigs of RAM instead of 8 and at least 1TB of hard drive or 500 gigs of SSD. This will give you more storage for your favorite games and also a better performance because of the 16 gigs of RAM, which is the standard for gaming nowadays. Now of course you can get away with 8 gigs of RAM and you can upgrade this later on when you have more money if you can't afford to do this now. So don't worry about it, this PC right out of the box is going to give you a really good 1080p gaming performance, but you will be limited with the 256 gigs of SSD. With the next one we have one from Amazon. This one is the ABG PC. It has the AMD Ryzen 5 3600, which is becoming a bit old but still a great CPU, alongside the RTX 2060 Super, which performs really similar to the RTX 3060. This one has 16 gigs of DDR4 RAM at 3200 MHz and 1TB of NVMe SSD. Here you don't have to upgrade anything and you're going to get a better 1080p performance than the last one. So if you want to play AAA titles, 1080p, ultra settings, 60 plus FPS on average, this one is the one to go. And if you want to play esports titles at above 144 FPS on average, basically every single esports title, this one is the way to go as well. The last one is going to give you more than 144 depending on the title, but I think that this one is going to be a much better option. You get also better airflow and more upgradability over time. The price is going to be $850, so if you have the budget to buy it, I think that it's a pretty solid system for the price. But it's worth to mention that for the same price you can get another Big Tooth 15L for $850, but this one has the AMD Ryzen 7 5700G, which is going to perform better than the Ryzen 5 3600, and you get the AMD RX 6600 XT, and if you don't know anything about computers, it's going to be about 20% faster than that 2060 Super, so you will get a much better gaming experience on this one. And yes, you get 16 gigs of RAM, a TB of hard drive alongside 500 gigs of SSD, so nothing to worry about in terms of upgradability. And I think that for the price of $850 for a Prebuilt system, this is a steal. Of course, if you want to build it yourself, you will get better performance for a lower price, but if you search Prebuilt PCs at this price point, I don't think you will find another Prebuilt PC with the RX 6600 XT and a Ryzen 7 processor on the market. This one of course it's on a $500 discount, which is a huge discount. With the next one we jump up to 1440p, the Skytech Azure for $1200. Yes, I know it's a lot of money between this one and the last one, but here you get the i5 12600K, a much better processor than the last one, and you get the RTX 3060 Ti, which will perform better than the RX 6600 XT, especially at 1440p. So if you want to do 1440p gaming, I would start here if you want a really good gaming experience. Here you also get a TB of SSD and 16 gigs of RAM, so nothing to worry about there. I know the price it's much higher than the last one, but I think it's worth the price difference, especially if you want to play high FPS 1440p. And if you want even higher FPS at 1440p, for 200 extra bucks, you can get the Skytech Chronos from Newegg. This one has the RTX 3070 instead of the 3060 Ti, and then the rest are basically the same components, but you get a 240 all-in-one liquid cooler, so you get a much better cooled CPU, and you also get better airflow with a nicer case in my opinion. So that is something to keep in mind when buying this system. You get better airflow, better CPU cooling, and much better gaming performance because you get the RTX 3070 instead of the RTX 3060 Ti. So if you want 1440p super high refresh rate monitor, then this one is the one to go. And one thing I have to say is that for the same price on Best Buy, you can get the CyberPower PC with the RTX 3070 and Ryzen 7 5700G. Now, I believe this PC is going to perform a bit worse than the Skytech Chronos one, but it is worth mentioning because this one is all white. So if you're into a white gaming system that is going to perform really similar to the last one because it has the same GPU and a slightly worse CPU, I think this one is the one to go instead of the Skytech Chronos one. With the next one, we have a 4K system already. This one is the Omen 45L. I mentioned this system a lot because I've tested myself, so I'm not going to get into too much detail about this system. You can go ahead and watch my review about it in the top right of the screen. But basically it has the i7 12700, the RTX 3080, 16 gigs of RAM, a terabyte of hard drive, and 500 gigs of SSD. You can use this PC for a 240Hz 1440p monitor if you want to, or a 4K 144Hz one if you want that jump in resolution. The price is 2,050 bucks, but after the coupon code that I will leave in the video description, you will get an extra 10% off, so it's going to be under $1,000, which is a really good price for a 3080 Prebuilt system. And I'm not gonna lie, I've seen some 3080 Prebuilt PCs out there, but this one is the one I've tested myself and I can safely recommend you buying it. The other systems usually have a worse CPU or not great airflow, so I think this one will be the safe choice for you. And the price difference between this one and the other ones is not that huge. Now with the number one, it's not really a deal because it's not on sale or anything, but it's a new system from Skytech. It's the Chronos 2. This one is 2,900 bucks. I know it's super expensive, but it comes with the RX 7900 XTX, the newest AMD GPU out there, and it's basically impossible to get right now. It's out of stock everywhere. So if you want this GPU and you don't want to build it yourself, I think this PC is a great system. You get the AMD Ryzen 7 7700X, a 360 all-in-one liquid cooler, 32 gigs of RAM of DDR5 memory, 1TB of Gen 4 NVMe SSD, great airflow. Basically, this system is a beast for 4K gaming. You can do 4K content creation as well, but if you are mainly a content creator, I would recommend you buying Nvidia and Intel, especially the i5 13600K alongside, let's say, the RTX 3080. But if you're into 4K gaming, it doesn't get much better than this system. Of course, you can get a PC with the 4090, but that is going to be much more expensive. So if you want the highest FPS at 4K under $3,000, this one is the way to go. Now, if you got value out of the video, leave a like and subscribe, but most importantly, hit that bell button because I will upload the chrismtas PCs for PC builds. So if you're into building your own system, it's really worth clicking that bell button so you get notified when I upload it. I will upload different budgets for PC builds as well. So if you do that, you will be helping the channel a lot. Thank you guys for watching, thank you for the support, and I will see you on the next one.